tragic history of slavery in the state of Delaware begins with this man, Anthony Swart. Swart was forcibly taken from his home in the West Indies and brought to a colony founded by Swedish settlers in 1639. Over the next 200 years, institutionalized slavery would expand throughout the state. By 1860, there were more than 1,700 enslaved people in Delaware. What did it mean to be enslaved in America? Enslaved people were considered property that could be bought and sold. They had no control over where they lived, worked, or what activities they did each day. They were not paid for their work and had no recourse if they were beaten and injured. They were forbidden to learn how to read and write. By the time of the Civil War in 1861, slavery had been outlawed in Pennsylvania, but it was still legal in Delaware. That made Delaware one of the last stops on a network of secret routes and safe houses used by people seeking freedom. That network became known as the Underground Railroad. Here she is, one of the great heroes of American history, Harriet Tubman. It's estimated that she was personally able to rescue about 70 enslaved people in her lifetime, and that with her advice and directions, about 70 more individuals were able to find their own way to freedom. For this, she was reverently referred to as the Moses of her people. Harriet Tubman is also the first Black woman to be recognized for having served in the U.S. military, for her service to the Union Army during the Civil War. But before all of this, Harriet Tubman was a young woman enslaved in Maryland. She toiled under dangerous conditions and she longed for freedom. As a young woman in 1849, she fled on foot, traveling alone through Delaware to Philadelphia. After risking her life to free herself, she made at least 11 more trips back to Maryland to lead others to freedom. And she often stopped in Wilmington to meet with Thomas Garrett. Thomas Garrett was a Quaker and a member of the Pennsylvania Anti-Slavery Society. He lived on Shipley Street in Wilmington in the Quaker Hill neighborhood with his wife and children. Historians have confirmed at least 2,700 accounts of Garrett directly helping men, women, and children escape to freedom. And Garrett supplied Harriet Tubman with food, clothing, shelter, and money donated by abolitionists from across the country and from Europe. On one journey heading north from Maryland, Tubman was traveling with a highly sought-after group of people escaping slavery. In the party was a man named Josiah Joe Bailey, his brother William, a man named Peter Pennington, and a woman, Eliza Manakee. The collective reward for capturing and returning these freedom seekers was staggering. Almost $4,000. This will be over $130,000 today. With notices advertising this bounty posted everywhere, Tubman and Garrett knew they would have to work quickly. Garrett engaged 2 wagons, filled them with bricks and a group of bricklayers, and sent them across the heavily guarded Market Street Bridge. In the 19th century, this bridge was the main southern entry point to the city of Wilmington. After nightfall, the bricklayers returned over the bridge, but this time, hidden under the bricks beneath a false bottom on the wagon, were Josiah, William, Peter, and Eliza. They passed over the bridge into Wilmington undetected. They were all able to escape north to freedom, ultimately traveling to New York. Today, next to the Market Street Bridge overlooking the Christina River lies Tubman Garrett Riverfront Park. In the park is a statue, Unwavering Courage in the Pursuit of Freedom, which honors the life's work of Tubman and Garrett, only a stone's throw away from the site where they successfully ferried countless hidden passengers to freedom.
She never spent for her own use, but laid up for the help of her people, and especially for her journeys back to the land of Egypt, as she called her home.
Garrett was arrested several times for violating the Fugitive Slave Act. In 1848, he was convicted of aiding the escape of the Hawkins family. He was fined $5,400, which nearly bankrupted him, but only seemed to double his efforts to help the oppressed. Slavery in the United States was abolished by the 13th Amendment in 1865. Celebrations broke out in the streets. A procession of revelers wound its way to Garrett's home on Shipley Street in Wilmington, and he was placed in an open carriage with a wreath of flowers draped around his shoulders. Said the newspapers,
"No man in the country has done more for the poor and oppressed, both black and white, than Thomas Garrett."
A year later, Garrett was gifted this silver tray and tea set. You can still read the inscription, "To Thomas Garrett, through evil report and good report, the faithful friend and wise counselor, the fearless champion and generous benefactor of the wronged and the oppressed, from the colored people of Wilmington. January 1866. The tray is now on view in the Journey to Freedom exhibition in the Delaware Historical Society's Mitchell Center for African American Heritage.